Okay. I'll wait for Tracy to say we're ready to go. We're good? Are we good? Yeah. Okay. We are good to go. Good morning. I'm Mel Robbins. You're watching Coffee Talk. And if you tuned into the earlier broadcast, we just lost internet connection and the whole thing shut down. So we decided that we would just start over from the beginning. And Coffee Talk is my live weekday broadcast where I bring you behind the scenes and I also share all kinds of insights and tools and advice that will empower you to go about your day a little bit differently and make the most of it. And one of the things that I just wanted to touch on before I jump into a really amazing project that we launched yesterday for you, it's a gift that I have for you, all about the 7 strategies that will help you make more money. It will help you get the promotion that you deserve. It will help you grow your business. It will help you get better grades. It is the number one thing that women in particular and diverse candidates need to be thinking about, and that is your visibility. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And a free gift that I have for you around how you can build the 7 simple skills that will raise your visibility at work. But for those of you that were just watching the live broadcast that got interrupted, I want to make a point. And if you weren't watching the live broadcast that got interrupted, I still want to make the point. And that is this. One of the reasons why you watch what we do, and I know this because you tell me this, is because I'm so real, because I'm so relatable, because I'm so authentic. And there's something that I'm committed to doing, which is I don't want to tell you what to do. I often really want to show you what the advice looks like in real time. And that's why you constantly are being taken behind the scenes with me, and you see me in my rollers, and you see me without makeup, and you see me say things on camera like, I hate how my face looks today. I really do. I do hate, like I'm starting to get puppet lines right here. I do not like this. It reminds me of the remember the holiday? Oh my God, it's Easter time. Remember those holiday movies where the weird puppets were talking and they always had a chin like this? I feel like that is my chin, and it's all I can see today. I better go do something about it. Or my puffy hair, or what was happening on the live stream, which is we didn't even realize we were live for the first 45 seconds we were live. So God knows what I was talking about. And so I want you to see that even somebody who is as successful as me, and I am extremely successful, and I'm very proud to tell you that because I've worked very hard to build the business that I have and the life that I have, and I continue to work hard. That there are still flaws, that there are still mistakes, that sometimes the best things happen by accident. So if you're sitting there and you are waiting to put yourself out there because you think it's got to be perfect, if you are waiting to do your first live broadcast, or waiting to put up your first video on LinkedIn, or waiting to put up that first more personal blog post, stop. The only way that you start is by starting. The only way that you learn is by doing. The only way that you're going to get better and learn how to do things in a way that is better than you do them today is to do stupid stuff like I do all the time, like disconnecting my own computer, like pushing live stream and going live for 45 seconds and making those mistakes. And one of the things that I've learned in my business is that the mistakes are where all the learning is. And actually, the mistakes and the imperfect stuff, that's where the gold is, everybody. And so as you're sitting there and you're thinking about doing stuff and you're trying to make it perfect and you're trying to come up with the right script before you make that cold call, or you're trying to make sure your body looks perfect before you put yourself out there on Match, you are missing out on your life, period. And so I hope that if there's one thing that I consistently inspire you to do, it's to start before you're ready. It's to put yourself out there and make mistake. It's to have yourself go live and have it look like crap and all of a sudden you disconnect yourself, and to be able to laugh at yourself. to be able to shake it off. Like that is a skill. It's a skill that means that you're self-aware. It's a skill that means that you're growing. I had something happen yesterday that, again, it's in the category of many of the things that I share with you. It's something that I'm not proud of. It's something that I felt really bad when it happened. And let me explain what it is. So I had a crazy, overwhelming day yesterday. It was just everything was coming at me from a million different directions. I was emotional. I was being pulled in a million different directions. I am underwater in terms of the deadlines that I have right now. And my daughter was home, or I should say, I always say I mean our daughter. Chris and my daughter was home from college, and she's sorting out her summer plans, and she was getting extremely stressed out. She's trying to figure out where she's going to live in New York City because she's going down there for an internship this summer and to take a marketing class. And she was really stressed out. Meanwhile, I've got a million emails. Can you relate to this, by the way? That you've got so much going on, your head is spinning. And it doesn't just happen for us when we're working. Like maybe there's a lot of stuff going on with your family. Maybe something's going on with your parents. Maybe something's going on in your neighborhood. I don't know. But don't you feel totally stressed out and overwhelmed? And so that's how I felt yesterday. And all of a sudden, I looked at my phone and I realized, oh my God, I was supposed to pick up our son almost an hour ago from school. And my heart sank. I mean, who forgets their kid, for crying out loud? Whoop, me. I did. I lost track of time. And so I immediately started texting our son. He wasn't responding. I picked up the phone. I called the school. I almost burst into tears as I admitted that I was that late. She's like, oh, it's no big deal. They probably are still, they got out of track practice, whatever. Like they underplayed it, thank God. I said, I'm going to keep trying to reach my son. He calls me. I said, dude, I'm really, really sorry. I was doing something with Sawyer and I'm running really late. Where are you? Well, I'm about 10 minutes away. No problem. I'll meet you in the front of the school. I pull up. Thankfully, he was not the only kid that was there. So he was hanging out with some friends and he got into the car and I burst into tears. And he's like, what's wrong? And I said, I just feel like I failed you today. And I just feel like I am not the perfect mom that I should be. That's the words that fell out of my mouth. And he looked at me and he goes, Mom, if you had been on time, you would be one of those perfect moms that are all over their kids, that are up in their business, that never do anything wrong. And I don't want a perfect mom. I want my mom. Oh my God, I'm getting really upset. I literally, and then of course I started crying more. And I was like, that is the most beautiful thing that you've ever said to me. And I did not expect to get this choked up with this story, but it really was one of the most beautiful things that the kid has ever said to me, or any of my kids have ever said to me. Because it's true. The world doesn't need another perfect person. The world needs you. And you're trying your best. You're doing what you can. And, I think it's really important that you cut yourself a break and that you stop thinking that you have to be perfect. There are going to be days where you're an hour late to pick up your kid, and that's okay. There are going to be days when you can't get to every email, and that's okay. There are going to be days where you feel so underwater, and that's okay. You'll get through it. You'll figure it out. And you've got to understand that it's not about being perfect. It's about just being you. And that means that you got to be willing to start before you're ready. You got to be willing to do what I do every damn day, which is show up in my rollers or start a live stream and disconnect myself or start it and be talking and not even know that I'm broadcasting. You've got to do that version in your life or you're not going to get ahead, period. I took a little zag when I was supposed to zig. So let's go and zig toward what I was supposed to talk about, which again, this is not perfect. It is what it is. This is Coffee Talk with Mel Robbins. So We launched this amazing project yesterday. And if you're on our newsletter list, you would know about it. If you're not on our newsletter list, get on it. I send out a email every single Thursday. And I would love to have you on the list. I send out a deeply personal letter. And yesterday, I announced a project that we've been working on that I was really, really excited to share with you. And I hope you'll share it with every single woman in your life. And it is a project about women and work. And so if you want to know what the project is, go to melrobbins.com/women and work. And one of the things that I've been noticing is that so many of you are struggling with feeling invisible at work. You're struggling with feeling like you're not getting the credit you deserve. You're struggling with feeling like you're not getting the promotion or the advancement or the salary that you deserve. And if you're feeling this way, I am sorry that you feel that way. That's a terrible way to feel. I have felt that way in my career. And what I want to share with you is that there are things that are within your control that are very simple, that are proven based on research to have a direct impact on your ability to make more money and on your ability to get promoted. And the single most important thing that impacts your ability to get promoted and your ability to get paid what you deserve is visibility. Now, is this only for women? Of course not. But the reason why I'm talking to you women, and particularly women of color, is because men tend to do these 7 things more naturally. I don't know what it is, but they tend to naturally not have the issues with visibility at work that we women do. You can say it relates to bias, which you're probably right. I think it also has to do with the fact that a lot of guys grew up on sports teams, that they have more testosterone, that their brain structure is different, whatever it may be. But the most important thing that you need to start thinking about if you want to make more money, if you want to get the promotions you deserve, is what is my visibility? Because you don't get paid or credit for the things that people don't see. You only get paid or get credit for the things that people see. And so one of the things that really impacts your visibility, believe it or not, is how strong your female network is. This is like mind-blowing for somebody my age, because I'm 50 and through large parts of my career, for the last 30 years in my career, there has been a myth that is out there that women are the worst when it comes to supporting other women at work. That women are the ones that are more competitive, that women are the ones that are more cutthroat, that women are the ones that don't support each other. And I do think that that was true when I was in my 20s and when I was in my 30s. And the reason why I think that was true when I was in my 20s and when I was in my 30s is because we were not as aware of diversity in terms of its importance and in terms of its impact on innovation, its impact on profitability, its impact on team dynamic, its impact on culture. Companies were not as aware or as motivated or as intent and deliberate as they are today in trying to promote a more diverse workforce. And so it was true when I was in my 20s and I was in my 30s that there were less opportunities at the top for women. And it was true that we women felt like we had to fight against each other for that one shot at the top. It's not true anymore. Thank God. And the thing that I want you to understand is that if that myth is still in your mind, let's explode it right now. Because I'm going to share some research with you that is really amazing. And it's research that proves that actually the more connected you are to women, the more you support other women in your workplace, the more likely you are to get promoted, the more likely you are to get that raise. And so this takes me to a question that Maureen had. And Maureen's question is, hey, Mel, I just want to say that I look up to you so much as a businesswoman. I work in a male-dominated financial office, and I am only one of 5 women out of the 50-plus employees. You would think we would all have each other's backs, but instead, every woman is out for herself. The constant competition creates such a toxic atmosphere, and it makes it really hard to enjoy my job. I can relate to that because I feel like I've worked in work environments like that where there's so few women that it felt more like being on a Bachelor episode competing for something that it did being in a collaborative work environment. And here's what I want to tell you: there is only one thing that will shift this dynamic. And luckily, it's in your control, Maureen. And the one thing that will shift this dynamic of being competitive among the women is if you stop competing with the other women. If you start shifting the dynamic, and here's how you do it. You do it by being a fan. What do I mean? I talk about this all the time. If you Google Mel Robbins being a fan, you'll probably come up with like 10 different videos on YouTube about this philosophy. It's a philosophy about leading with appreciation. It's a philosophy about cheering for other people publicly. Because what happens when you cheer for other people is you naturally trigger the law of reciprocity. And even the biggest jerk face, even the biggest curmudgeon, even the biggest, most competitive person on the planet, who might be competitive, by the way, because she's paying for her parents' nursing home bill and she's feeling stressed out and she's also divorced. I mean, who knows what's driving this competitive nature? Maybe it's a sense of scarcity and fear and insecurity. And so the opposite of competition isn't more competition, it's connection. And you create connection by cheering for people. You know, I did this when I went to CNN, and I noticed that there were only 5 legal commentators in the entire organization that were on staff. And when I first got there, the vibe was very competitive because, first of all, we're all lawyers. Secondly, it's television. Third, it's kind of the nature, I think, of both of those industries. And I would notice people, when they would see each other, whether it was in the makeup room or in the cafeteria, be like, oh, yeah, I'm on Aaron Burnett tonight. Oh, I'm on Anderson. Oh, Don Lemon's called me. Oh, yeah, I'm like this sort of like one-upmanship thing. And so I literally started doing this being a fan thing, because this is what I do. And every time I'd see one of my colleagues on television, I'd take a photo and I'd tweet at them. Oh my gosh, you're brilliant, da 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 da, amazing. I cheer for them and I tag them. Anytime I was on and I was discussing a topic and I had pulled some research, I would circulate it to my colleagues saying, hey, in case you're talking about this today, I found this case to be useful. Do you realize it took about a week before the entire dynamic among the 5 of us shifted? And instead of being like, oh, I'm on this show, we became fast and furious friends and supporters. So you want to diffuse competition? The opposite of competition is connection. And that's how you drive it. And the other thing I want to tell you is that there was a study done by the University of Notre Dame and Northwestern University, and they found that 75% of high-ranking women had strong female-dominated circles. And women in such networks were 2.5 times more likely to land higher-ranking roles than those women that had small male-dominated networks. So it's the opposite of what you think. The more women you have in your network, and the more you cheer for those women in your network and create connection, despite how they may be acting right now, you rise above that. You rise above it. Don't get sucked into that competitive nature. You bring competition from the inside to drive yourself, but you drive connection on the outside in order to create a stronger network and in order to shift the culture of the teams around you. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. And you'll be surprised at what happens. Now, look, if you want more information about how to raise your visibility, if you want more information about how you, in particular, as a woman, and particularly a woman of color, the things you need to know in order to get ahead, to raise your visibility, go to melrobbins.com/womenandwork, and you're going to get access to a video training that is 7 skills that I practice that have been tremendously meaningful and important and critical in my business and in my career. They are things that you can do very easily. I explain them in this video. There's also a PDF companion guide. I want you to share this with every woman you know, your daughters, your sisters, your mothers, your aunts, your cousins, the women you mentor. If you're a guy and you're worried about your visibility, watch this. Absolutely. It works for everybody. Watch it. And I think that's it. It's Friday. I got to go. But in case nobody else tells you this today, I want to be the one to tell you that I love you and I believe in your ability to change your life for the better. I believe in your ability to shake off those things that you do that disappoint you. I believe in your ability to realize that it's not about being perfect, it's about being you. And when you start to change the way that you think, and you start to change how much you judge yourself or not, and you start to change the willingness that you have to put yourself out there and become more visible, your entire life will change. So that URL one more time is melrobbins.com/women in work. I hope you have an absolutely amazing holiday weekend if this is a holiday that you celebrate. And if you don't celebrate, I hope you have an amazing weekend too. I will see you on Monday morning, and you can reach me on social media all weekend long. Bye. Did I end it? I don't know if I ended it. Stop. I didn't end it.